For my next review, I'm going to be reviewing the Samson Field Survivor Tool. It's intended as a rescue tool for your AR-15. It's not a service maintenance tool like many of the multi-tools that are out there designed for use with the AR-15. This one's designed strictly as a rescue device. As they say in their video, it's intended to save your life or save your range day. It's got 14 different tools on it that serve a wide variety of functions. It's not your average run-of-the-mill AR-15 tool. But from what I've messed with it so far, I can see it's pretty well made. The machining is pretty quality. But it doesn't matter how good this tool is if it's not around when you need it. It's held in place by O-ring friction, and it goes in the pistol grip of the weapon. So I think my first order of business is to put this thing in its home and do my best to evict it. The thing about this tool, it might be a field survival tool, but it won't do you any good if it falls out. So, I'm going to try and make it fall out. Probably going to break my buttstock in the process, but that just gives me a chance to do a review on Mission First Tactical's Battle Link stock later, doesn't it? Here we go. Hope I don't break my whole rifle. What'd I tell you? Well, sorry, buffer tube. Seems to be in there pretty good. The buttstock's short now, but as you can see, it hasn't slid down at all. And all it is that keeps it in there is an O-ring. And they're really good. That's it. Just O-ring compression. Apparently, you can break your buttstock off on someone's face and you'll still have your field survival tool ready to go. That's why I shouldn't buy DPMS. Continuing the review for the Samson Field Survival Tool. This is the tool fits inside your grip. They got a good explanation video on their website about how this has 14 different tools in it. And just in my effort to prove some stuff can break, I already busted a buttstock trying to make sure this will stay in the grip under harsh conditions. About the best dislodging function I could think of to get this out of a pistol grip would be a butt stroke to the face. And someone's going to say, well, yeah, you had the buttstock fully extended and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you know what? Because I don't think you're going to have time to collapse your buttstock for an impending butt stroke to the face. Tell me wrong. But before we get into this completely, I'm going to discuss one of the hidden features, and it's in the base plate here. The tool, the locking mechanism is threefold. You have an O-ring, you have a compression plate, and you have the threaded base. The threaded base itself has got a 1/2-inch wrench on it. You can see there. Inside, they give you 2 cotter pins, which is the most frequently lost part for a field script. You have a front sight tool, and in the front sight tool is a notch that we'll address in a little bit for fixing your magazine lips. You have your ruptured cartridge extractor. This is the game changer for me. When I saw this at the SHOT Show, I told the good folks at Samson that every issue weapon needs to have one of these in the grip. But this unscrews, and then inside of here you store an extra takedown pin, or I mean extractor pin, as you work, an extractor pin in case you lose it. We're going to test this cartridge extractor and make sure it works as advertised. Stored in the center of the tool is a steel cable, and attached to that is a 556 copper cleaning brush. And this so far is the only part of this tool I'm not a big fan of, is that cleaning cable. It's kind of hard to deal with. But you know what, you're not going to be taking it in and out all the time anyways. On this side you have a carbon scraper tool. Inside the carbon scraper tool you have a one-time lubrication, like emergency ampule of oil. And all you frog lube and worm sperm guys are going to kind of scoff at that, but that's actually perfect, because the way to properly lubricate these weapons is to put 5 drops of oil in the carrier key and let the first round fired lubricate the rest of the weapon. So to me that's genius, and all I need to know is, can I order more in case I got to use it. And on this you have the go no go. The go no go is for your magazines. It's to make sure that the magazine lips haven't spread open too much over time or disuse or whatever. And it lets you do quality control on your magazines. They make this tool in 2 models. The model I have here, which fits the USGI grip, the new Ergo grips, the wider ones. Don't try and stick it in the old school small ones like I have here. And the Hogue grips. The other model is for you Magpul guys. It fits both models of Magpul grips. I intentionally dirtied up my DI gun really good last week in anticipation for doing this. So there's my bolt carrier out. As you can see, it's a little bit funky. I'm going to go ahead and use my survival tool little hook to help me get this cotter pin out. Works like a charm. All I did is I hook it over the hook and then pinch it with my thumbnail. Comes right up. Now comes the firing pin, cam pin. This bolt carrier is really tight because it's still in its break-in. And as you can see, I'm going to show you real quick before I use the scraper. That's DI. It's dirty, but I love it. We're going to pull up this carbon scraper tool, and it turns into kind of a T-handled arrangement or a pistol gripped arrangement, and all you do is stick it straight down into the carrier and turn it and scrape. And I can actually hear it busting carbon loose in there. You see that? It's all the carbon and junk out of the deep set pockets in here. And that's pretty good. There's still, it leaves a little bit of a ring of carbon around the port that you normally have to get with a wire brush. But this thing cut out a whole lot of scrubbing. Yeah, I approve. This ampule, let me show you real quick on this. The lube ampule, it has 2 rubber ends on it. Just comes out like that. And the way you use this is you pop off one of these and then you just tip it into the carrier key. As you can see, it's the perfect size. Tip it into the carrier key. The first shot you fire, that lubes the whole bolt. I'm not making this up. That's how they test CLP in the military. At Aberdeen Proving Grounds in Maryland, they do that 5 drops of lubricant in the carrier key, and then they fire 10,000 continuous rounds on a sustained rate. That's the standard. If your lube can't do that, you can't replace CLP. Them's the rules. I've already broken one butt stroke, with one butt stock with a butt stroke today, so I'm going to take it kind of easy. But normally you would butt stroke clear the weapon just to get, because you might only have one shot at it and you want a real positive extraction. When it comes out, you need to spot the exit to make sure that the brass is attached to that ruptured cartridge extractor. And we're good. So you can see this is how it works. It's a collar that inserts through the brass and it indexes the neck where the cartridge is exited and pulls this ruptured cartridge from the front as opposed to the rear during normal extraction. Instead of bending it up, it's kind of the neat thing about this tool. You can recover this, spot it, come out, recover it, put it in your pocket. If you're in a firefight, you need to clear it that badly, it's going to be all gross motor skill. But later on, when you get back to your fob, your uncover, whatever, you just unscrew this tool, screw it back together, and it's in perfectly good condition and able to be reused. It's a pretty durable little setup. If you bend it up, the way they've got these fins cut, there's 4 slots in there. If you're real careful, you can spread them out just a little bit more and revitalize this tool. So it's durable, it's not one-time use. And as you saw, it's pretty effective rescue. I'll show you from how this works. Snaps in pretty positively, doesn't it? Came out to the range today to do a combat speed demonstration of the ruptured cartridge extractor from the Samson Field Survivor Tool. I've already got my failure installed. It's a ruptured cartridge. I've overheated my weapon. I'm a troop behind cover or an LAPD officer and searching for some other suspected criminal, and I've shot thousands of rounds into a cabin trying to get him out. Nevertheless, I've overheated my weapon. I have a failure, and the only thing I have in my arsenal to keep me going is right here installed in my weapon. So I'm going to start from the place where I've already done my remedial action. I've identified the problem, and I know I need to clear this. Here we go. Easy peasy. As you can see here, just like it worked at the house. Very impressed by this. There's nothing else out there that can do this. That's always going to be with the weapon. Like I said, you know, I can pick this up right now, gross motor skill, put it in my pocket, get back down the road, worrying about squaring away my tool later. Big fan. Big fan. Here we are again back in my favorite park to talk to you about the last remaining portions of the Samson Field Survivor that I haven't covered yet. And I think it's a very important part. It's how well it services your magazines. That's something that, to my knowledge, not a lot of these other multi-tool platformed tools do well. And where it becomes important is if your magazine gets stepped on. Because sure, the multi-tools have pliers, and sure, you can bend the ears around with the pliers and get your magazine back straight again, mostly. But the thing about the Samson tool is, it gives you the means to not only repair it, but check your work and make sure it's right. The part it services more specifically are the ears of the magazine. These are the parts that are most susceptible to get bent. In fact, 30-round magazines, USGI type, are actually kind of notorious for it. A lot of spring pressure when you load this thing full of ammo. But they give you 3 tools on the Field Survivor to handle that. The first is right here, this little curvature. That's actually a gauge to check the curvature of the ear. And then here on the front sight tool, this little notch, that's a wrench to muscle the ears around and straighten them out. And then this here, this is the go, no-go gauge for your magazines. It has a little stair step in it, and this side is go, this side is no-go. This side slides between the ears, this side should not. It's very simple to use. Come from the back, you push it down. If it doesn't go through, you're good. I find it's also useful as a straight edge to check the quality of the ears. Now, should I need to make a repair, it's pretty simple. So I can show you on the camera here. Push the follower down, and then slide the wrench over. A little bit of pressure, and it builds the ears down. You can push the follower down with your finger too if you wish. Then after you make your corrections, check it with your go, no go. And then when you're all done, your go, no go says you're good. Then you can check with your curvature gauge to make sure you didn't overbend. And the ears are in spec where they're supposed to be. Now, like I said before, that's really only going to be a rescue function if your magazine gets stepped on. But should your magazine get stepped on, it's something that's going to have to be performed. Now, after 2 or 3 weeks of playing with this tool and trying it out, just sitting around the house and messing with it, there's really only one function on this tool I am not a big fan of, and that's the drag through or the pull through cable. Played with it for about 20 minutes trying to get it down the bore and never made it happen. But to be honest, this tool was handed to me by Kathy Samson on day 4 of the 4-day SHOT Show, and probably 100 people picked it up and handled it, and within those 100 people, and that's a conservative number, that cable was probably taken out and stuffed back in a couple 100, 300 times. And realistically, it wasn't meant for that. It wasn't designed for that. But I do feel like it's unnecessary. Because as a rescue tool, having a pull-through cable is a little unfitting to me. Because if you're going to have to do rescue cleaning, running something down your bore, it generally means you've had a squib or a pop and no kick, whatever you want to call it, and in those instances you really do need a cleaning rod. So I really can't fault them for it. I mean, you can see that this cable's got a hard kink right there. That wasn't getting down the bore. In my opinion, the cable lacks enough weight to be able to pull it off. And I really wanted to try it on camera. I wanted to see if these cable end crimps are strong enough to hold it. Nevertheless, in my 2 or 3 weeks of messing with this tool here, I have decided I really do like it. I think it's a genius idea, and I plan on keeping one in the grips of both of my 5.56 platformed rifles without the cable. The cable does make it is hard to stow and does mess with the streamlined nature of the tool. And I really like how that copper brush there is on a handle. It makes it easy to service the rear of the bolt and do some real carbon removal when you need to. But that there right there, the ruptured cartridge extractor, that really does make the tool for me. It's a one-of-a-kind thing, and I feel as a rescue device, it's a well thought out, well made tool. Now, I've been dealing with a lot of products from the Northeast lately, states like PA and New Hampshire, and the more I talk to those people and the more I socialize with them, the more I'm starting to realize they're really Texans at heart. We get along very well, and I'm really surprised to see some of the stuff coming out of there. Some quality stuff, some innovative stuff. Companies like Samson Manufacturing and Domari Nolo, Mission First Tactical, and Snakehound Machine. Some very great things going on in there, so keep your eyes on them. Pay attention, because they're small and hungry and growing fast, and they've got their heads on right. And actually talking to them lately has inspired me in the area of having some kind of a sign-off to conclude every one of my reviews. So, buy American. Refuse to be subjugated.